Why
She
are you
stood at my
here?
doorstep,
I'm sorry,
7 months
Minsuk is the
pregnant,
father. We were
claiming the
together 4
baby
months
was my
ago.
husband's.
Let us stay.
Rain was pouring down, mascara running down her face, one hand on her swollen belly. I'm sorry, she sobbed. But Minsuk is the father. We were together 4 months ago. Just once. I'm so sorry. My Korean in-laws wanted me to let her move into our home. For the family honor, they said. If it's Minsuk's baby, it's a Choi family baby. I'm a Ghanaian woman. We don't play those games. What I discovered next exposed a conspiracy that went deeper than anyone imagined. And the pregnant belly? It was all a lie. My name is Amara, and I'm from Accra, Ghana. I met Minsuk 3 years ago when he came to Ghana for a hotel development project. He was a junior executive at his family's hotel chain, scouting locations for their first African property. I was a corporate lawyer, working on the legal side of the deal. We met in a conference room. He was respectful, curious about Ghanaian culture, asking thoughtful questions about local regulations and customs. Not like some foreign investors who come in assuming they know everything. This is my first time in Africa, he admitted over coffee after one of our meetings. I have so much to learn. Most people don't admit that, I said. Why pretend to know something you don't? That's how you make expensive mistakes. I liked him immediately. Over the next 3 months of the project, we fell in love. Late nights reviewing contracts turned into dinners discussing everything but work. Weekend site visits turned into exploring Accra together. He learned to eat fufu with his hands. I taught him some Twi phrases. He was gentle, thoughtful, and genuinely interested in understanding my world. When the project ended and he had to return to Seoul, he asked me to come with him. I know it's fast, he said. I know it's asking a lot. But I can't imagine my life without you anymore. I'd never considered leaving Ghana. But I looked at this man, this kind, genuine man, and I thought, why not? I could practice law anywhere. This was love. So I moved to Seoul. The first year was hard. Learning Korean, adjusting to the culture, being away from my family. But Minsuk made it worth it. He was patient with my language mistakes, proud when I won my first Korean legal case, supportive through every challenge. His family was complicated. His parents were traditional, old money, not thrilled about their son marrying a foreign black woman. But they were civil, polite. They didn't make it easy, but they didn't make it impossible either. By year 2, things had settled. I'd made friends, built a legal career, even started to feel like Seoul was home. Then I got pregnant. When I showed Minsuk the positive test, he cried. Happy tears. He spun me around our apartment, laughing. Called his parents immediately to share the news. Everything was perfect. Until that rainy Tuesday evening when someone knocked on our door. Minsuk was working late. I was home alone, 8 weeks pregnant, researching baby names on my laptop. The knock was hesitant. Soft. I checked the peephole. A Korean woman I'd never seen before stood in the hallway, soaking wet from the rain. She looked upset, distressed. I opened the door. Can I help you? She looked up at me with red, swollen eyes. Then her gaze dropped to her belly. She was visibly pregnant. Very pregnant. I'm so sorry to come here, she said in Korean, which I understood, but didn't speak fluently. I'm looking for Minsuk. Choi Minsuk. Is this his apartment? My stomach dropped. Yes, I'm his wife. Who are you? My name is Jiwoo. I was his girlfriend. Before you. From university. Okay, I said slowly. Why are you here? That's when she started crying. Really crying. Hands over her face, shoulders shaking. I'm pregnant. 7 months. And the baby is Minsuk's. Everything went cold. That's impossible, I said. Minsuk and I have been together for 3 years. We've been married for 2 years. I know, she sobbed. I know. But we saw each other. 4 months ago. I ran into him at a hotel conference. We had drinks. We talked about old times. One thing led to another. It was just one night. One mistake. I'm so sorry. My hand gripped the doorframe. I felt dizzy. I tried to handle it alone, she continued, rain dripping from her hair onto our hallway carpet. I tried to pretend it wasn't his. But I can't anymore. The baby deserves to know its father. And I don't know what to do. I have no money. No family support. I'm desperate. I should have slammed the door. Should have called Minsuk immediately. Should have done anything except what I did. I let her in. Jiwoo sat on our couch, dripping rainwater, one hand protectively over her pregnant belly. She looked genuinely distressed. Genuinely desperate. Tell me exactly what happened, I said, my voice somehow steady despite my racing heart. We were at the Signial Hotel in April, she said. There was an industry conference. Hotel development in Asia. Minsuk was there representing his family's company. I work in hospitality too. We ran into each other at the hotel bar. She had details. Specific details. We started talking. He told me about his life. About you. About being happy but also stressed about family expectations. We drank too much. He seemed vulnerable. I was lonely. We went back to his hotel room. Room 1504. I remember the number because afterward, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Room 1504. Such a specific detail. It was just one night, she continued. The next morning, he was horrified. He said it was a mistake. That he loved you. That it could never happen again. I agreed. We both wanted to forget about it. Then why are you here now? I asked. Because 2 weeks later, I realized I was pregnant. I tried to contact him, but he blocked my number. Blocked me on everything. I tried to handle it alone. I really did. But I'm 7 months along now and I'm scared. I have no money for hospital bills. No support system. The baby is his. He needs to take responsibility. Just then, my phone buzzed. Minsuk texting that he was on his way home. He'll be here in 20 minutes, I said. We sat in silence. Me, trying to process this nightmare. Her, occasionally sniffling and rubbing her belly. When Minsuk opened the door and saw Jiwoo sitting on our couch, his face went completely white. What are you doing here? He said in Korean, his voice barely a whisper. Tell her, Jiwoo said. Tell your wife about April. About the Signial Hotel. About room 1504. Minsuk looked at me with panicked eyes. Amara, I have never touched this woman since before I met you. I swear on everything. She's lying. Room 1504. Jiwoo stood up, pointing at him. April 15th. You told me about your wife, about feeling trapped in your marriage, about missing your freedom. I was at that conference. Minsuk said desperately. Yes, but with 200 other people. I never went near any hotel room. I attended panels all day and networked at the evening reception. I was never alone with you. He turned to me. Amara, you have to believe me. This is insane. I don't know what she's trying to do, but I have never betrayed you. Never. I looked between them. My husband, who I'd trusted completely. This woman, with her specific details and her pregnant belly and her desperate tears. Who is lying? Woo called Minsuk's parents. I don't know how she got their number, but within an hour, his mother and father were at our apartment. His father, Mr. Choi, was stern and businesslike. We'll do a DNA test. That will settle this. Of course, Minsuk said immediately. Test it. The baby isn't mine. But his mother was already looking at Jiwoo with a mixture of sympathy and calculation. Until we know for certain, Mrs. Choi said carefully, Jiwoo should stay here. If the baby is Minsuk's, it's a Choi family baby. We take care of our blood. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You want her to stay in her home? It's tradition, Mr. Choi said firmly. Family honor demands it. Until the DNA test proves otherwise, we treat her and the child with respect. I'm also pregnant, I said, my voice rising. I'm 8 weeks pregnant with your son's child. And you want me to house his alleged mistress? Mrs. Choi looked at me with cold eyes. If you're truly part of this family, you'll understand the importance of honor over pride. Minsuk stood between us, looking torn and devastated. This is insane, he muttered. But I could see it in his eyes. The fear of disappointing his parents. The cultural weight of family obligation. The same pattern I'd seen before, him caught between defending me and maintaining family peace. That night, Jiwoo slept in our guest room. I locked our bedroom door and didn't speak to Minsuk. I couldn't sleep. While Minsuk tossed and turned beside me and Jiwoo slept down the hall in our guest room, I sat at my desk in the dark, laptop screen glowing. Something wasn't right. I pulled up my phone and called Ghana. My sister Alma answered on the second ring. "Do you know what time it is here?" she groaned. "I need your help," I said. "Remember how you always said your PI skills were wasted in corporate investigation?" Alma worked as a private investigator back home, mostly handling corporate fraud cases. She was brilliant at finding information people wanted to keep hidden. What's wrong? She was awake now, alert. I told her everything. The pregnant ex. The hotel room. The specific details. The family pressure. "Send me her full name and any information you can find," Alma said. "Social media, employment, everything. I'll start digging." "Thank you," I whispered. "That's what sisters are for. Now go get me something to work with." The next morning, while Jiwoo was in the shower, I photographed her purse contents that she'd left on the coffee table. ID card, business cards, receipts. I sent everything to Alma. Within 24 hours, Alma sent her first findings. "Check her Instagram," Alma's message said. "And look at the dates carefully." I opened Jiwoo's Instagram profile. It was public. She'd posted regularly for years. And there it was. A photo from February. 5 months ago. Jiwoo at a beach resort. In a bikini. With a visible baby bump. My heart started racing. If she was showing in February, and it was now July, she'd be 9 months pregnant. Not 7. I scrolled further. December photos showed early pregnancy curves. October showed her at what looked like a doctor's office, hand on her belly. She was already pregnant when she claimed to have slept with Min-suk in April. "Keep digging," I messaged Alma. "There's more here." Over the next 48 hours, while playing the dutiful wife and tolerating Jiwoo's presence in our home, Alma sent me piece after piece of evidence. Bank records showed regular deposits to Jiwoo's account from Lee Corporation, the Choi family's biggest business rival. The Lee family had been trying to acquire the Choi hotel chain for years. Failed negotiations had left bad blood between the families. Social media photos showed Jiwoo with a Lee family associate, a man named David Lee, at multiple events over the past year, including some very intimate photos from 8 months ago. Hotel conference records showed that Min-suk had indeed attended the Signeal Hotel conference in April, but only the public ballroom sessions. No room had been booked in his name. "She's being paid to do this," Alma's message read. "This is a setup. They're trying to destroy your husband's reputation and damage the family business. The pregnancy is real, but it's not his baby. My contact in Seoul says David Lee disappeared from public view 5 months ago, right when she would have been showing. I had everything I needed, but I needed to be smart about this. If I confronted Jiwoo privately, she'd just deny it and leave. I needed witnesses. I needed Min-suk's family to see the truth. I called a family meeting. Min-suk's parents, Jiwoo, Min-suk, and me. "Before we do any DNA test," I said, standing in our living room with my laptop, "I think we should establish the timeline clearly." Jiwoo shifted uncomfortably on the couch. "You claim you're 7 months pregnant from an encounter in April. April was 3 months ago. That's impossible." "I meant March," Jiwoo said quickly. I misspoke. "It was March." "Interesting," I said calmly. "Because here's a photo of you from February." I turned my laptop around. The beach photo. Her pregnant belly visible. Mr. Choi leaned forward, eyes sharp. "That's just bloating," Jiwoo said desperately. "Water retention." "Really?" "Because here's December. October. September." I clicked through the photos. "You've been pregnant this entire time. Since well before you claim to have been with Min-suk." Mrs. Choi's expression was changing from sympathy to suspicion. "Those photos are taken at angles," Jiwoo protested. "Bad angles make everyone look." "Let's talk about the Signeal Hotel," I interrupted. "You were very specific. Room 1504. April 15th. So I contacted the hotel. I pulled up the email on my screen. The hotel has no record of Min-suk checking into any room in March or April. He attended the conference, yes, but only the public ballroom sessions. There's video surveillance showing him at the networking reception from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., then leaving the hotel. Alone. Jiwoo's face was going pale. You want to know what room 1504 was used for in April? I continued. A storage room. It wasn't even a guest room. Mr. Choi stood up. What is the meaning of this? Let me show you something else, I said, pulling up the bank records. Regular deposits from Lee Corporation to Jiwoo Park's account. Starting 8 months ago. Totaling over 30 million won. I showed them the photos of Jiwoo with David Lee. Intimate dinners. Weekend trips. His hand on her pregnant belly in one photo. This isn't about a baby, I said, looking directly at Jiwoo. This is about destroying this family's reputation. The Lee family hired you to seduce Min-suk, or claim you did, to create a scandal that would damage the Choi hotel business. You were already pregnant with David Lee's baby. You just needed to make it seem like it was Min-suk's. The room was dead silent. That's not. Jiwoo was standing now, backing toward the door. We can do the DNA test right now, I said. We can go to the hospital. But when it proves that baby isn't Min-suk's, you'll face criminal charges for fraud, extortion, defamation, and conspiracy. Or you can leave now and save everyone the trouble. She looked around the room. At Mr. Choi's furious face. At Mrs. Choi's cold disappointment. At Min-suk's devastated expression. I didn't want to do this, Jiwoo said, tears now real, voice shaking. David promised me money, a future for my baby. I lost my job. I was desperate. They said it would be easy. Just claim the baby was Min-suk's, get a settlement, disappear. I didn't think. She grabbed her purse and ran. We heard the apartment door slam. The silence after she left was deafening. Min-suk dropped to his knees in front of me, sobbing. I'm so sorry you had to go through this, he said. I'm so sorry you had to be the one to defend me, to defend us. I should have done more. I should have investigated. I should have protected you from this whole nightmare. I felt the anger that I'd been holding in for 3 days finally bubble up. You let her stay in our house, I said, my voice shaking. You stood there while your parents told me to accept this. You looked torn, like you weren't sure who to believe. I believed you, he said desperately. I believed in us. But I didn't know how to fight against family tradition, against what? Against the possibility that your wife, the woman carrying your child, might be telling the truth. My voice was rising now. I'm 8 weeks pregnant, Min-suk. I spent 3 days living with a woman claiming to carry my husband's child. Do you know what that did to me? The stress? The fear? Mrs. Choi stood up and approached me slowly. You're right, she said quietly. We failed you. I failed you. I chose tradition over logic. I chose family honor over supporting my daughter-in-law who needed us. She looked at me with something I'd never seen before, genuine respect. You protected this family better than we did. You used your intelligence, your skills, your resources. While we sat in judgment, you found the truth. Mr. Choi nodded gravely. We owe you an apology. A debt we cannot repay. I don't want your debt, I said, exhausted. I want your trust. I want to be part of this family not as an outsider who has to prove herself constantly, but as someone you believe in. The Lee family denied any involvement, of course. David Lee claimed Jiwoo was a disturbed ex-girlfriend acting alone. Without concrete evidence tying the Lee family's higher-ups to the plot, our lawyers advised against a legal battle. But the business world in Seoul is small. Word got out. The attempted fraud. The conspiracy. The Choi family's graceful handling of the situation versus the Lee family's shadowy tactics. Within 6 months, 2 major hotel chains cut ties with Lee Corporation. Their reputation took a hit they're still recovering from. Jiwoo disappeared. Rumor has it she had the baby, a boy who looks exactly like David Lee, and moved to Busan. 7 months later, I gave birth to our daughter, Na. She has Min-suk's smile and my determination. Min-suk's parents are different now. His mother visits weekly, helping with the baby, apologizing in small ways for ever doubting me. His father invested in my law firm, treating me as a true business partner. Min-suk and I are stronger, but it wasn't automatic. We went to couples therapy. He learned to stand up to his family when it matters. I learned to communicate my needs instead of silently enduring. The experience taught me something important. Being underestimated can be an advantage. They looked at me, the foreign wife, the outsider, and thought I'd just accept their version of events. They forgot that I'm a lawyer, that I'm trained to find the truth, that I have skills and connections that go far beyond what they assumed. Never underestimate the woman who seems quiet. She might be quietly gathering evidence that will destroy your lies. And to anyone going through something similar, trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, investigate. You deserve the truth. Like if you believe in fighting for the truth. Subscribe for more stories where intelligence wins. Comment. What would you have done?